What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Taking a Risk with George. The RV life is non-stop. Honey, do this, honey, do that. So let's go knock off a few of the items on the list today.
We got our pan, oil filter, towels,
15mm socket.
15mm socket.
And I don't have the actual tool to undo the filter, but I do have this for our water filter, so I'm going to see if this works. And we're going to be changing our oil today.
Oh yeah, and we cannot forget the oil.
Alright, so I don't have the proper tool. That filter tool that I had is not going to fit. So I do have these Gorilla Grip. I think I got these from Walmart. We're just going to try and muscle this filter off. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Right, I've been working on my grip for forever, so we'll see if I can. Oh yeah, with the Gorilla Grip gloves. Oh yeah, slow and steady.
Your veins are your veins in your arms.
All right, hopefully this is the right spot. Oh, it's already coming down. Let's move this faster. This is a messy process. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So that's why we have the container here to catch all of that.
Oh my gosh.
And you always remove the oil filter first, because you don't have to, but it's a good rule of thumb, because if you have an entire pan of oil just sitting in here, you see how slick and slippery this can get? Easily could drop it in there and it's not really an issue, but it just sucks because it can splash. So this container that I got actually has a spot right here. You just put the filter just like that and you let it drain.
That is so nifty.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it has a slope so that it all should go into the hole. And then once that's filled, I can plug it up. I do have some rags. I'm gonna wipe my hand clean.
I love those rags.
Yeah, these shop rags, these are pretty good. I got 2 for $5, I think.
You just use your head to, rip it off.
Yeah,
if you only got one. If you only got
This is
one.
a tight spot. I don't have the truck jacked up or anything, but I am underneath it. These trucks are tall.
Which is actually pretty cool. That way we don't have to jack it up, right?
I mean, it's more convenient too. But the whole reason we're doing this ourselves is, 1, the truck needed it bad. And 2, for the oil, the filter, for everything that I bought today, it's $85. And I actually bought some other stuff that wasn't part of it. So it was like $79 or so. We went and got our oil changed when we first got the truck, after 5,000 miles. And it cost us almost $200. And this is stuff I've been doing with my dad when I was a child for a long time. So I knew how to do all this stuff. But for convenience, we went to a company and got it done just to make sure it was done right. But for $70 and a little bit of time, which is going to take a little bit extra time because I'm showing you guys how to do it as well. Oil change. $70. Save yourself the time. And it's going to be done right. Or at least if you know what you're doing, it'll be done right. But you know what you're doing.
That's why I like you doing it, to make sure that all the bolts get tightened properly and everything is done properly. Because you never know what these companies do for money.
That's right. Alright, so always remember, folks, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. See how it's going to the left? It's loosening. I turn it the other way, it goes to the right, it's tightening. Back to lefty-loosey. We're going to break this, and this is one of my least favorite parts. Some people probably really enjoy it, but it gives your tool a nice film of lubrication, which is always nice. So we're going to break this nut, maybe. Trying to be gentle.
Oh!
There it goes. There it goes. There we go. We won't get our tool all lubricated. We're just going to get our hands lubricated.
Wow, so only one, really big tug?
Yeah. These are pretty easy. So the reason I'm saying oh no is I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it looks like the gasket did come off of the nut, which I'm going to make sure. I've never had that happen before. All right, so it's ready to go. All right. No mess, at least on my end. Just a tiny little bit on my hand there, which is not bad at all. Which is good. It keeps the nut lubricated. But yeah, it looks like the gasket did actually stick to the oil tank here. So I'll have to make sure to grab that before I go to reseal it, because if you don't seal it properly, it will leak, and you do not want an oil leak. You'll run out of oil while you're driving down the street. hauling a 15,000 pound RV, and your truck will not have a good day, and you will not have a good day. All right, so I got the little gasket off of there, put it back on here, make sure it's nice and snug. Took the gloves off because I don't want to get them any more oily than they need to be. All right, and I've got napkin ready. I'm going to start cleaning this off a little bit just to make sure there's no debris or anything in there, which I didn't see any types of shavings, which is always a good thing. Nothing's coming out of there. And then we're going to plug it back up as soon as those last few drips come out. No ring on there, that's good. And I'm going to re-lube the new filter, and I'm going to fill it up about 3/4 of the way full before I put it on there.
All right, next step is getting the new oil filter lubed up and filled with about 3/4 of the way full oil. That way it's primed and ready to go. I've already started it, and you want to let it sit for a second before you fill it all the way up because it will soak in. So you can see I already filled it 3/4 of the way full earlier, and it's down to like 1/8 of the way. So we're going to fill it up the rest of the way now. All right, so there it is. You can see it's still going down. Every time I fill it up, it soaks in a little bit more, and that's because it's getting into all the little crevices of the filter. So I think that's pretty good for now, and I'm going to go ahead and put this back in and filter the rest of the oil now. All
right, so I'm going to start by cleaning this off a little bit more, making sure there's no more debris or anything like that, and there isn't. We're going to put the nut back in, and I'll secure that in just a second. I want to get this filter on. I'm going to throw the gloves back on and just hand tighten it in. I made sure the seal or the gasket, the O-ring that's on there, is nice and lubricated to get a better seal. And really, these just need a good hand tighten. They don't need to be secured on there too hard, just enough so that you know it's not going to come off. All right. And right there should be good enough for that. Maybe I won't throw the gloves back on, but I definitely need to get my hands cleaned off. Grab my socket, which I put very far away for some reason. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Spinning to the right, it's gonna tight. Here we go, and this doesn't need a super secure tight either, but I suggest you put a little bit of muscle into it. That's it for this side.
This thing is gorgeous. It's been a while since I've looked in here, but it is so big and so tall. I gotta have this stool, and I'm still not tall enough to reach where I need to be. Because if you can just reach your hand up here, I'll show everybody. You see the oil goes in right here, all the way back by the driver's side. And you're gonna need a long funnel. You see that whole thing? This thing is huge. Pretty sure this is for something else, but I'm gonna use it for oil today. You can cut it a little bit so that it drains faster, because this hole is a little small for oil. I actually might do that before we get started with this, so let's go do that. All right, so now we're on the passenger side because the dipstick is all the way over here, so I'm gonna double check. I know I just drained it, but I have OCD about so many things. Even if they don't make sense to you, they make sense to me, and I've got myself a semi-clean rag. I'm just gonna make sure that this is reading about empty. Hopefully it should be all empty. If it's not, if I'm still getting a reading on it, it means there might be some really thick sludge in there, in which case you've got some big problems. Get it all in there. And there it is, coming out almost bone dry. Of course, you're expected to find some little bits, but that's great. So we're gonna put this back in. And from reading the owner's manual, I know that this is an 8-quart oil tank. So I got 10. I've already put about 1, maybe 1.5 into the oil filter. So the tank itself is gonna take about 7 or so. All right, so now we're back on the driver's side. Getting all up in here, and I'm almost 6 foot. I like to say that. I'm actually like 5'1", but the angle of this oil thing is really extreme in my opinion. Oh man, I cut that perfectly. It fits in this hole just enough. Like there's like this much room for it to fit in perfectly. And I'm gonna make sure I put the bigger end right here for when I dump it. So this is 5 quarts, so I know it's gonna take this whole thing. And I opened both of the 5 quart jugs that I got, and the first one that I used to fill up the oil filter I'm not using because I know this one has 5, so this is exactly 5 quarts, and I'll deduct from the other one that's already open when I go to do the remainder.
You're a little late to the show, girl. We're already almost done. You want to learn how to do an oil change? Yeah?
You guys were supposed to be learning. They were out here when I first started. This whole day was supposed to be me teaching them how to do cool RV stuff, but I guess I'm a boring teacher. But there we go. There's 5 quarts. I'm not going to worry about the little driplets. There's 5 quarts done. Now I'm going to go double check to see where it is on that marker so I know exactly how much more to put in. All right, I made sure to keep the pan down there just in case I didn't tighten anything right, so hopefully it's not leaking out of the bottom. It shouldn't be. I trust my handiwork, but let's see what we got. You see it on there yet? Nothing. That's still bone dry. Uh-oh. What if this isn't the oil stick? Try that again. It's going to take a second to get to the dipstick area. Normally, I don't know. It's weird that it's on the other side to me.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm just double checking to make sure that I put that nut on right because that's a new one for me, that when you fill it with oil and then check the dipstick and it comes out completely bone dry, but nothing's dripping down here. I think maybe it all just went in and came right out.
Vanish oil.
Yeah. All right, we're just gonna go ahead and start filling it with the next one. I wanted to show you guys I did use the right oil. People are questioning me here at the campsite. Are you sure you put it in the oil thing? Check this out. This is the lid right here that I unplugged. That's a little oil symbol right there. And what's it say at the bottom? SAE 5W30. What's it say up here? SAE 5W30. And this is the specific brand for our truck. And if you look right here, Dexos 1, it even says right there, Dexos. Did I do a good job or what?
Yeah, you did amazing.
Yes. And this is not the cheapest brand you could buy. There is a brand at Walmart. I think it's called Simple Tech. It's only a couple bucks cheaper, but you always want to make sure when you are buying oil that you don't buy recycled oil. You can, I'm sure there's going to be somebody out there with 800 years of experience, mechanic experience, that's going to argue with me on this. You can use recycled oil. There's nothing wrong with it. But for a truck that we're using to haul our livelihood, I don't want to take the risk of getting oil that hasn't been reprocessed correctly. So I'm just going to go with a new thing of oil and make sure. When you're buying different companies, you'll find that this was about 20 bucks. There's $30 oil. There's $15 oil. The only difference is the company name, really. It's just like buying a Nike or buying an ASIC, in my opinion. My unprofessional opinion, as I like to say. You know, it all comes out of the ground the same. It just depends on which company buys it. So we're going to fill this up. About half of this jug, because I already know there's about 6 quarts or so. And this is a 5 quart jug. We're going to use about 2 quarts of it. So you can see right there. Oh man, am I on money or what? So I've already used 1-ish about, and there's another 2. So we're going to give that a second to settle, and then we're going to check that dipstick. All right, now we're going to check the dipstick and see what we got. We put about 8 quarts, which is what it says it's supposed to hold, maybe about 7.5, 8 quarts. Let's see where we are. There we go. There's some oil, and it looks like it might be all the way to the top, which is fine. You typically want it somewhere between the middle and the top. You don't want it all the way full, and you definitely don't want it below that mark. So we're going to do one more time and see what we get. You learning? Yeah, you're so cute.
You like it?
Perfect on
yeah.
All right, here we go. Nice and steady. Careful. Careful. What's it reading at, honey? Would you say about 3/4 of that stick?
Probably about, yeah, 3/4.
Money. That's where you want it.
Later.
Finally done. Here's everything. We can sit down and relax and watch some TV, kiddo. Hey, babe. Yeah?
We're all out of toilet paper.
Oh man, I've got the perfect solution for you. It's finally time to do it, babe. Alright, so check it out. We got the RV bidet from Clean Camper, made exclusively to fit RV water lines and toilets.
Eco-friendly, installs in minutes, adjustable pressure, no batteries or electrical needed, fits on nearly every RV toilet. Let's get this bad boy installed so she can finally finish up. All right, so what we're looking at here is an upgrade your RV toilet bidet. No more poo pyramids, and 100 times cleaner than wiping. No clogs, refreshing behinds, and peace of mind. No more expensive RV toilet paper, which is very true. It is not cheap. Save tons of money by avoiding toilet paper and upgrading your RV toilet at the same time. Save trees and save your butt. Adjustable water pressure, durable design and construction, dual self-cleaning, retractable nozzles, reversible for tight spaces, and quick and easy installation, which is super duper exciting. I'm so ready to go, go, go. All right, so let's get this bad boy open. Let's see what's in the box. You've got all your hardware right here. Water line, nozzle, tape, all kinds of stuff. Screws. The bidet right there, wrapped in bubble wrap. I'm going to keep that for the kids. They love it. And lastly, in the box, you have a thank you note from the owner, which is absolutely awesome, and 3 stickers, which is perfect. One for each of the kids. Baron, sorry, buddy, not this time. But that's all right, because all he would do is eat it anyway, so it's better he doesn't get one. All right, so the first thing I got to do, and you have to do as well, you always have to remember this is one of the most essential steps for plumbing so you don't make a horrific mistake and flood your entire RV or your house if you're installing one of these on your regular toilet in your residential house. So you have to shut the water off, so let's go do that. Let's do this quickly. All right, get that open, get that open, get that open. And I gotta do this, she's waiting on me. And that's how simple it is to shut the water off to our RV. I absolutely love it. Let's get back in there. All right, the next thing you want to do is drain all the water from the line as best as you can. You want to choose the lowest water source you have. I'm going to use the kids' toilet. That's it. That's the last flush of their toilet for now until I get this all hooked up. I'm going to double check. You guys don't have to see this. It's good. Now we're going to get back into ours, and I'm going to flush it real quick just to make sure there's no more water. There we go. No water coming out. Hopefully all the water in the line is out so that when I do disconnect it, I do not get soaked. All right, now I got to pop off the toilet seat here, which is super duper easy. You just pop these open. You need a screwdriver to hold this part down, and on the other side there's a nut. Let's see if I can actually loosen it without needing a screwdriver. Sometimes you can get lucky like that. This little hole to stick my finger in is not the best. No, I think I'm going to need to get a screwdriver and probably both my hands. All right, and before I get started, here's a look at the instructions and what you are going to need. You're going to need 1 wrench, a screwdriver, some paper towels, some water if you need it, and a towel just in case you do make a mess. And here's all the parts that it comes with. And this is pretty simple. You turn off the water supply, remove the toilet seat, and save the toilet parts. Place the bidet attachment in the brackets on the toilet, reattach the toilet seat on top of the bidet, and then install T-adapter under toilet, connect flexible hose from T-adapter to bidet, turn on water supply carefully, check all connections for any leaks, and that's it. That is literally it, and then you have the best cleaner in the world for your backside. All right, so now I just gotta stick my hand in there. Let's see if I can use both my hands, get you guys a nice close look. This just unscrews. Oh, dropped the nut, that's okay. The other one. Righty tighty, lefty loosey, George. There we go. We're gonna drop that nut as well, but this now comes off. There we go. Here's an inside look of the back side of our toilet and where those nuts fell in somewhere. There they are, there's one. And on the other side, somewhere in here. I know we're getting real personal with it. I'm got my mouth on this toilet. It's definitely clean. God, the honey was just using it. All right, due to the limitation of space and only having 2 hands, I was not able to film while installing this, but it was pretty simple. I can show you. Just had to put the bidet down. See, the bidet is underneath, the toilet on top, and I used the screws that it came with as well as the nuts that it came with. So I'm not using the old equipment that was already on the toilet. I'm using the new stuff, and it is holding it down. I still have to put, obviously, this one on the other side, and we did decide to keep it on the right-hand side just because I think it's going to be easier. Shouldn't make a difference for us, at least, because on the left-hand side we have a cabinet here, so I didn't want it bumping into that. So let's get back to doing this. All right, so there it is installed. I got the nuts nice and tight. I was able to get the screwdriver onto that and screw them down nice and tight.
But one thing I'm concerned about is this thing's kind of big. Sitting down on this, that's going to be poking you in the butt. So we're going to have to figure out how it needs to be seated properly. But it looks like, oh, these come out. Oh, maybe it's just supposed to be like that. And then they come out and spray. Oh, that's nice. Oh, maybe it's supposed to be lower. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's supposed to be lower below the toilet rim. So you're not sitting directly on it. And then this pops out when it goes to spray. And one of these is for the front and one of them is for the back. As you can see, you got clean, I know it's backwards, rear upside down, and front, high, low, off, water pressure. Super cool. I'm so excited. So let's get to this next part, which the water line is PEX, and I don't have the ability to take it off from right here, but luckily I think it just screws in right there. And this should just screw right into there as well. Thank God that washer's in there. It did fall out, but I was able to put it back in there, no problem. And then that's where the PEX part is going to be screwed into, and then the water line, of course, is going to be screwed into this. So this water line is going to be into that, and then it's going to go right there. Okay, I cannot lie to you folks. This was by far the hardest part, and it literally only took me an additional few minutes to figure out how to get myself into this tight little spot right here. But getting this right there, where my finger is supposed to be pointing, right there, tightened to the toilet was, it was hard. That's for sure. It wasn't too hard. It's definitely doable. I just did it, but it was hard. And as you can see, I'm hoping it's connected properly. This PEX cord it did come straight out and connected straight in. So with the additional like 2 inches or so of the T connector right there, the silver T connector, it does push it into a weird position. It was making it extremely hard for me to spin this. And honestly, that doesn't even look like it's on secure. So we're gonna hook up the other water line and hook it up to the bidet, and we're gonna pray. All right, and one thing I do want to point out, and you'll hear it a million different ways from a million different people, is the Teflon on there. I did wrap it at least twice with the Teflon tape just to make hopefully a watertight seal so we don't have any leaks. And like I was saying, you'll hear it a million different ways from a million different people. There's going to be a guy in the comments that has 600 years plumbing experience, and he'll say he never once used it. But I promise you, it is definitely worth it just to make sure you don't have that leak. And the other bit of advice with the Teflon tape, make sure you wrap it in the right direction, because if you don't, when you go to tighten it, it'll actually uncurl the wrap you did. So make sure you're always wrapping it with the tightening. So if you're going to tighten to the right, which you should, you want to wrap it from the left to the right. All right, so my rule of thumb is to thread it before you wet it, put it on before, don't get water on the floor, put on some strips, will save you from the drips. So make sure you remember to always thread with the Teflon. Teflon Don, baby. All right, so there we go. I got the water line attached from the water spigot where it's going to come out from, the water line to the bidet. And the reason I have this coil right here is, rule of thumb is, you don't want extra tubing just hanging around, because then it can get caught on something. This way it's tucked in and it should be out of your way. So let's go turn that water on, and once again we're going to pray before we bidet. Even though I have a lot of confidence in my work, you still never know. Accidents happen, mistakes can be made, something can be overlooked, or just something might not be tightened all the way. So also, before I go, I'm definitely going to double check that it's in the off position, which it is. All right, so that bathroom is actually just right above here. These two PEX pipes lead straight to the sink, and I believe the toilet is tucked in somewhere under here. I don't know if I'll be able to see it or not. Maybe it's something right there, but we do have a chance to hear if anything leaks once we do turn this on, so I don't have to rush too fast inside. I'm going to turn it on slowly. Listen. I don't hear anything, so let's get inside. This is another good time to mention that it probably is beneficial to bring a towel with you just in case you do have a leak, and I do have a small leak. So we're going to go shut the water back off. Actually, I might just be able to tighten this just right now by hand. Maybe. Nope, we still got a leak, so I'm gonna have to go turn that water back off and fix that. But that's pretty good that the leak's coming from that and not from actually the bidet, which is good. All right, so actually, without shutting off the water, I was able to tighten it. Cannot get a good view. That's a much better view. So I did get the leak to stop, and I think everything's hooked up correctly. Now I'm just gonna wipe off all the excess water and make sure it doesn't drip into that hole. That was my main concern, because that leads right into that under bay. Definitely don't want water getting in there and just sitting, because that's how you get mold. That's how you cause a lot of damage. And this tube, I'm not 100% sure. I think this is the tube that leads to the sprayer on the inside. I actually undid did this thinking I could take it off, but this thing is really hard on here. I wasn't able to just slide it off. That's gross. But that's from all the different hard waters that have been through here. So I need to actually pinch this without hurting myself and get it back to where it goes, which is right over here. All right, folks, save yourself the hassle, get the right tools. I got my needle nose vice grips, and I was able to easily pinch that and put it back into place, and now we're good to go. No leaks, everything's nice and tight. I think we're ready to do it. And I did find out that the water that was leaking was actually coming out through here, so I don't know when this was installed if it doesn't look like it, if I had to guess. As many toilets as I've put in, it does not look like they sealed the bottom of that, which is fine, I guess, but now that means that water can actually go inside and come outside, so I don't know if that's good or not. But trapped water is your real enemy, so if the water can actually seep out, that should be okay. I should be able to get a paper towel back there and clean the rest of it too. All right, let's see how this bad boy works. I think I'm going to tilt it all the way down so it sprays down. I don't want it to spray on me. Oh! It works. My mouth feels so clean. All right, y'all, moment of truth to see if it really works. Oh, wow, that's like a direct shot. Let's get you guys a closer look at what's actually going on. All right, folks, that is 100% how you would do it. Yeah.